one day I could switch between all my beloved tube amps with just the flick of a switch. This little box transformed my studio, and it might just do the same for you. Today, let's talk about the KHE amp switcher, one of the most useful pieces of gear that I have added to my studio. Basically, this thing is self-explanatory. You can switch 4 amps. 4 of your, it can be tube amps, it can be solid state amps, it can be whatever kind of amps, as long as they're not too powerful. You can't use, for example, bass amps that have like 300 watts or something. That would be too much. But like normal Marshalls, no problem. You can put 4 of those right here, and you can switch those 4 amps into one cabinet, and even switch that cabinet to another cabinet if you have one. I only happen to have one cabinet, which is actually my aux box, and I'm switching between my Silver Jubilee, my Marshall JMP, my Orange Rockverb, and my blue guitar, which is right there. You can actually plug in a MIDI on the back side, and I've got that connected to my pedal board, to the Voodoo Lab pedal switcher, and it's actually pretty easy. You can then assign the MIDI switching to be done with your foot switch instead of, you know, pushing these little switches up here. Another feature that, again, I am not using, but that can be very useful, is you can actually, with these, with these right here, you can insert a reactive load, and that reactive load, for example, could be a Boss Tube Amp Waza, I believe it's called, or even the aux box, but, you know, I'm using the aux box as a cabinet. Let's say I'm putting in a reactive load back here that might even have the option of a send and return loop. Then you can plug that in there, and that's going to attenuate all of your 4 amps. Then you have the option of having a effects loop for all your amps. Yeah, which is pretty cool. As you can see, I have so many amps back here, and I've in my other studio room I even have some more. And it's always been such a hassle to get back in those amps and, you know, disconnect them and connect them to the aux box. And it's actually quite risky for your tube amps. And I've actually destroyed my tubes of my Silver Jubilee because I've just not connected it correctly to the aux box. And yeah, shit happens. Not with this thing. It's all connected all the time. It's always seeing a dummy load, all of those 4 amps, and it's very safe. The switching is completely silent. There's no pops or anything when using this thing. Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out some more. The switching between the amps really is a seamless process. This unit right here, this little box, the KHE, it's a quality built product built in Switzerland. Precision, I think, is the key word here. If you have a tube amp fetish like if you're one of these guys, and you just got a bunch of amps and you want to use them in your little home studio like me, instead of buying yet another tube amp, consider getting one of these, because it just makes your workflow so much better when switching. You know, for me now the process has begun that I can actually switch, because I can switch so fast between my amps. It makes me realize how different these amps really are. Like the Silver Jubilee and the Marshall JMP that I have down here, I've always noticed that they have their own voice, of course, but now, you know, having to switch so fast between them and playing the same thing, it makes me realize even more what big of difference these amps do make in your sound, and they make you play different stuff. Conclusion, absolute fantastic product by KHE again. The built-in features it offers is an upgrade from the previous models that KHE has. Even though I don't really use them that much, I find the MIDI switching quite useful, you know, but actually just switching like I just did right now works perfectly fine for me. I don't need the pedal switching, but it is a cool feature, especially, and it opens up the opportunity to use the KHE in a live situation, maybe even. I really wish I would have had the KHE amp switcher years ago, because it's such a wonderful device. As I said, it improves my workflow so much that I don't want to miss it anymore. Leave a thumbs up, subscription, comment in the box below, and thank you for watching.